Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Kyle and the channel is called Kyle by the Creek. Out in my lawn I have a nearly 30-year-old lawn tractor. It's mostly functional. I thought you guys might be interested. A familiar sight, I'm sure, but can you believe these things are still mowing grass to this day? This one is a 1998 Craftsman LT1000. This is actually the first year that they produced these things. It's a pretty legendary tractor, mainly because they're still functional. And Craftsman made these things all the way until I think 2007, so that's nearly a decade that these things were super popular, pretty well made for what they were, and affordable. So I think they really hit a nerve with this, a good nerve, and you're still seeing these things today. This one has the Dana 4360 transmission, so it's got the 6-speed. And then we have the turbo cool Briggs. This is the 16 horsepower OHV, overhead valve. And yeah, everything about that combination is just pretty good. Now this thing is actually a runner. I had it down by the creek and I jumped it and it pretty much started right up. It's a mess though, and I don't know, you might even be able to still see it smoking because it was just smoking like crazy. But it's not pretty. The previous owner, you know, got their money's worth out of this thing. And he did a pretty good job keeping it going and did replace things as needed. So that's good. But I think I want to do basically the bare minimum with this one, because you guys are always saying, oh, people will buy the tractors as long as it works. And I always say, well, not around here, not in Connecticut. They want to see a perfect looking tractor that works perfectly, and they want it for a cheap price and delivered yesterday, you know. So I want to do an experiment though. Let's see if like those riveted repairs and the hood looking the way it does, and not painting the mowing deck, leaving the seat the way it is, all the cosmetics are basically going to be the way you see it now. But we're going to do everything we can to get this thing to be completely functional, with a reliable engine, service it, replace belts or whatever is needed. Then I'll look for kind of comparable prices, and let's see if in this video we can sell this thing. I think the first thing we should do is see if this battery takes a charge. It is not looking good. It says it has 12 volts. 12.0. All right, a lot of times I do the recondition. It takes a long time, but it does help. This is like a Harbor Freight special. This thing's actually been pretty good, and the recondition does actually work somehow. And you could charge with 2 amps, 8 amps, 15 amps, or run it on auto. Anyway, seems like it's been pretty good. Had it for at least a year. I had the battery charger on it all day yesterday, and yeah, we got nothing. Luckily, a company sent me a battery jumper, so let's go unbox it and see how it works. So we have a LIFMOCER GS400 jump starter. Looks like it's 4,000 amps. That looks pretty nice. Big clips on it, so. And these are pretty straightforward at this point. I think everyone knows how to use them. Plug them in, hook them up. Sometimes you need to do the override button just to get amps going to a dead battery. And I'm sure this thing will work just fine. I swear she's a runner. So as you can see, it's a runner. I think I remember some of the issue with this thing, and it's key switch related. It doesn't want to run unless you back off on the key to the first slot. So normally it would start there, but it's not getting spark there, it's getting spark there. So you kind of, I remember this from, I don't know, was it a year and a half ago that I got this thing? Crank it and you have to like get off the key, crank, and then it'll start like that. So that was partially my fault with that. But yeah, that battery charger did pretty good. That spun it over fast actually. And this battery is toast, like I said. It didn't hold any bit of charge. And out of performance, the mowing deck engages. It's a little shaky. So I got to look into, you know, whether we have like an idler with a flat spot or something like that, or a belt that's worn. And it doesn't want to idle perfectly, although it does sound like the idle is very low. So, you know, best case scenario, just bump up the idle a little bit, but I have a feeling we're going to be getting into the carb. Tires, how are we doing? These tires have been good. I did fill them up yesterday. That one might have a slow leak. Yeah, that one was flat, but of course it had been sitting for a year and a half. So that's not really, you know. Tractor tires are notoriously awful. And people are always asking like, how are the tires? And I'm like, pretty much every tractor has a leak. You know, you're gonna have to, if you own a tractor, you pretty much need some sort of air pump to occasionally put some air in your tires, even on good tires. But you know, I always tell people it's not like this thing's going down the highway. I understand people want good tires, and it's really like one of the things people understand, even if they don't know anything about machines. They know things about tires from their vehicle, and they want it to have good tires. But yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a 20-plus-year-old tractor with likely original rubber on it, and it's kind of a miracle they're holding air at all. And you could get into replacing all four of them, but you know, then you're looking at a much more expensive machine. Anyway, just rambling a little bit about tires, but we seem to be pretty good on the rubber side of things. So if I didn't make it clear, this key switch is replaced, and I remember the owner talking about that. He had done this key switch. I just don't think he bought the correct one. And so let's investigate this right off the hop. Don't mind Carmen. All right. So we got the 6+1. Pretty normal setup here, but then the ground wire. I think that's a ground. Actually, can't ever remember. Yeah, I believe that's a ground that's on the side there. Anyway, we've got to look for one of these key switches and see if it works better. So out of my crate here, here's my supply of key switches I had on hand. Actually, I have 9 of them. Some of them are probably to like a walk behind or something like that. Got a lot of these Husqvarna ones. And then I actually have 3 that will work for this application. So that's good. This one looks pretty bad. And it doesn't have a key. I mean, all the keys should work. Yeah. Ooh, that feels terrible on the inside. Alright, that one's probably junk. Let's give this one a try. We'll get the LIFMOCER out here again. Just plugged it in to see how much juice we used. So not bad. I think that's what you would expect from, you know, a brand new battery jumper. And yeah, it means you can use it several times. So I like that. Give it a little choke. There we go. First problem solved. So thanks, LIFMOCER. I think this thing works pretty good. It's got a light. Yeah, most of these have this. flash, that sort of thing. Yeah, after all that, 82%, and I don't think I charged this. No, that was in the box. So that's how it came from the factory, ready to go. I like it. So I ripped up my ramp yesterday. I have it over here. Thinking of replacing it. Got to go to the store today though. Get some lumber. I think it should be a pretty easy project. So we have 2x6s, and I'm going to need 4 8-foot 2x6s, pressure treated. I need 1 8-foot 2x4 pressure treated. They have this little 1x4 or whatever that is, 1x6 maybe, and then there's like a little bit of an end piece here. So pretty easy construction. Should be able to slap that together and then improve our ramp here. But anyway, that means this thing is outside for today, and I have the pool on in the shed, which I'm trying to keep that one out of the rain because I still have it listed for sale. So let's get this mowing deck off. Clip is on there. Alright, there's our mowing deck. Tell already we're gonna need to do some welding here, and it's pretty thin stuff, so not my favorite. Kind of curious what's under here. Yeah, some rot holes for sure. This is where we have the patch, riveted patch. I guess that's, I don't know, it's doing its job. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. Blades look good. Yeah, I think we could fix this for cheap. Here's the hole on the other side of the deck. Yeah, not great. But anyway, that's what it looks like. This is the type of deck, it's old enough here where it uses linkages instead of a PTO cable. So to engage the blades, it's all levers, and yeah, it doesn't really wear out. It doesn't bend either. I mean, this is really the way to do it. I don't necessarily like the PTO cable. They get rusty, they break. I don't think this breaks. So this is a nice design. looking decent, you know. The tank cleaned up nicely. I'm sure it's not going to start now. I needed so much water near the carburetor to get that clean, so it'll be a little bit of an issue. Deck came out fine, kind of as we expected it to be. I'm wondering if I can just weld it from here, you know, a little here and then flip it over and get the underside. Might need to put a plate in there. Probably do. Belt looks okay, not bad. I'll stick with the belt, and all the bearings seem good, so we're gonna stick with those too. Oh, there, I took a couple minutes and did that. No, I didn't film it. I'm not ready for you guys to critique my carpenter skills. I got my hands full enough with you guys commenting on my mechanical skills. Anyway, replaced this with that. Yeah, that's great. This thing had fallen too. There was a metal L-shaped bracket, whatever, and that had come unscrewed because a lot of that frame there is a bit rotted. But anyway, so you could see I went with I think I had a 1x10 that I ripped, and that's what I used. So get a little edge on it. Pretty nice, all pressure treated. Yeah, it's not great welding, but that bracket's on there now. There's some holes in that area. Again, I'm not gonna go crazy on this project. I'm gonna hit that with some paint once it cools down, but let's get these blades off and we'll sharpen them. These are new blades. They're in really good shape. What is that thing?
This is one of the things we bought there. It's a bird call.
Well, come show everyone the bird call.
Well, technically birds should respond, but right now there's not much birds around. So.
Cicada. No birds?
Yeah.
Maybe it's calling in the cicada. Well, believe it or not, I think the mowing deck is done. Remember, we're keeping this thing like ugly and functional. So that's ugly and functional. Let's get into the carburetor. I'm smelling gas in the shed here, so either something's leaking or this is flooding. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, we need to get into this carb to figure this out. I bet we don't have a good gasket for that solenoid. Oh, there's no solenoid's not even plugged in. I bet it's cut. It's got to be cut. Let's shut the fuel off, get this carburetor off, and give it a little bit of a clean here. So to take the anti-backfire solenoid off, you need a wrench that's been filed down to fit in between here. And so I have two of them. I have a 12 and a 13. And the 13 fits on this one. So sometimes these are hard to still get off without a vise. But it doesn't feel like it's threaded in there very good. Feels like cross-threaded almost. Maybe not. Yep, so solenoid has been cut. Not terrible in here. And then a flathead that's been filed down too to fit in here. And you could take this emulsion tube out, or the jet. Oh yeah. Hold on, there's one on the side. I take this one out too. And hopefully, they don't like to come out. Sometimes you gotta work it, you gotta go back in. Those threads feel good when you go in, but let's see if we can. See if we can convince it. Come on. Still not too happy. It's so close, but I'm starting to mangle it. Well, I put it back in. Starting with some WD-40. I don't always do that, but just trying to lube up the threads there. Alright, let's blow some things out. Yep, it's dirty work. Sometimes they are just filthy, and this one's pretty bad. The internal's actually not bad, it's really just outside. Inspecting the needle. Looks okay. Okay. Cleaned up, and we're ready to try it again. Our battery is back to 100%. Don't let it fool you. I plugged it in and it was at like 81%, and it stayed there for, I don't know, I want to say an hour. I was like, oh, this thing doesn't charge, but then after that it shot up. So anyway, don't let that fool you. Yeah, it's running really bad, but I'm gonna throw the air cover on it, the air filter on it. It seems to be wanting a little bit of more fuel, less air. Alright, it runs really bad. I gotta fix that. Okay, I slapped a different carburetor on here. Let's see what it does. Different carb, same exact results. Well, I could try another one. Why not? Worst one yet. I like this design too because this one didn't have a fuel solenoid and it had a angled fuel inlet. All right, try another one. All right, what's this, number 4? I don't know. This should be running. I'm gonna do the valves, I guess. We're just letting them fall. Everything's hot. Yeah, it might have been leaking there. All right. Nice hot valves. That doesn't seem bad. Not bad at all. I don't like fixing stuff that isn't broken. All right, it's a little big of a lash here. Like 11 thou, maybe 12. Alright, that's even bigger. Alright, let's tighten these up a little bit. Alright, I got a 5 thou feeler. I don't know. We'll try that. Alright. This thing just broke. Almost hit me in the face. Okay, we gotta repair that, I guess. Did I do something wrong here? Alright. Alright, don't worry, I have parts. Maybe I tightened that down too much? I'm not really sure what happened there. So tired of dropping stuff. I'm gonna go with that. I think I have a valve cover gasket I can put on too. I have some silicone on there. I didn't have a gasket. The gasket was good. But now it's got RTV and a gasket. Alright, that was not a very awe-inspiring valve adjustment. Let's see if that did anything. Why does it idle so good? I don't know yet. You know, it's not getting enough fuel. There we go. I wonder if this cap is a problem. flame. A lot of raw gas everywhere. Alright, let's let that you know what, let's clean out this tank. Let that gas evaporate. Pretty much everything has been telling me it's not getting enough fuel. Especially when it idled and didn't throttle up. Oh, we'll get it, guys, we'll get it. What? Just when you think you're getting somewhere. Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Compression's hard. Is it like melting down here? I mean, I'm a little low on oil. What in the world? I have no idea what's going on here. Well, it's hard to watch someone struggle, so I turned the camera off. We're here the next day, and yeah, I went through a whole bunch of parts. And so the reason why it wouldn't start was that other valve broke. Or that's not the valve, whatever it is that's you've called where you tighten it. So yeah, that's two of those that have broken. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. I really don't. But I'm clearly doing something wrong. So I guess I have something to learn about that. Not really sure. But anyway, still have a lean condition where it wants to be choked to run decently. I don't know how to get this thing more fuel though. So it wants more fuel or less air. Usually that means that if it doesn't have an air leak. I mean, I've been spraying things, I've checked all these things out, and I can't find an air leak. And the timing's good, so pop this off and check the flywheel key, and that's fine. So don't know, gotta keep messing with things, but surging should be solvable with getting it more fuel in this case, and I don't know how to do that. I did widen a jet on one of these carbs. I think it's this one that's on there right now, and that made it worse. So I probably went too far. I just don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to widening out a jet. Yeah, so I might turn the camera back off here and just keep trying some things until we can get this thing, you know, right now it's worse than when we started, which that just drives me up the wall. I cannot stand working on something and making it worse. So, we'll figure it out. Alright, so finally found one that sort of wants to run it, but it's flooding. So, it's kind of funny. It's ironic because it wants more fuel. Well, you got it. So this carb might be worth working on because it might just be a needle and seat issue, but this one seems to be running it at full throttle, which is good. I don't know. What is wrong with this thing? So I got it to stop flooding. Maybe I'll show you on another carburetor what I did. And yes, I have all these carbs out from working on this thing. So there's a little O-ring in there. Sometimes it stays attached to this. Regardless, it will experience flooding if that O-ring is bad. So that was the case, and there wasn't a needle and seat issue. It was that O-ring and the Nicky carbs, which is pretty notorious. Anyway, so I swapped that out, and that solved the flooding issue, but it just doesn't run right. It finally doesn't surge, it just doesn't run right. So in this case, it's the idle that's worse than full throttle. So I don't know, maybe I can try cleaning it some more. Maybe I'll try that. I don't really have many other options, so I don't think I have many more carburetors that will work. Maybe a couple. Oh man, I might have fixed it. Wow. All it needed was just a different Walbro carb. I don't even think it floods. We might have a winner. Alright, we're put back together. Let's go for our first test drive here. And a first time driving on the new ramp. And no backfire. That's nice. That's running really nice. I mean, you hear a little bit of run, run, run when you go full throttle quickly. I'm not too worried about that. You can dump it down to idle and it goes right there. So, I mean, as far as like fuel is going, I think we have everything dialed in nicely now. It runs really great. I mean, it's been a while since I've gone this far to try to get something to run correctly. This was a lot. I have, I guess, learned a few things. I think what I've learned, and maybe you guys know this already, I don't know, you know, it seems to me like these Walbros they run richer, and the Nickies run really lean, it seems. You can even see it when you look, I don't think there's a jet in here, but the jet for the Nicky, if you look at it, tiny little hole in it. And then inside the Walbros, it's pretty big. I don't know. And it seems to me, most of the time, these Walbros work the best. And, you know, this was the original one on there. You can see I had this one. And then I think the one that's on there is the third. But look at all the Nickies I went through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There might be another one. 7. So that's kind of crazy. You know, here's some of my carbs. I have another bucket. And then this, I was scavenging for valve parts. But I was all over the place trying to figure this out. I mean, I was thinking it might be the gas cap. Off camera, I was doing a whole bunch of work. I was even questioning the gasoline that was in there. I don't even want to say this, but I think at one point I might have mixed some, there might be diesel and gasoline in there, because something is a little funny with that gasoline. And that had my head absolutely spinning for a while, because I'm thinking, oh man, where did I use it? Have I used that on my snowmobile? Like, I'm going all over the place. Anyway, I don't really think there's an issue there, because I switched to straight what I know as gasoline, and it ran exactly the same. The only thing I can think of, if I was running diesel in there, it's hard to even say, would that have caused that to break? It might have gotten like too hot or something. I don't know, guys. Anyway, I might not be the smartest person ever, but I think we got it figured. In the end, if I were to just say, hey, we're gonna tune the carb, I'm gonna cut out all this footage and just skip to the good stuff. You guys wouldn't know. Aren't you lucky you have someone like me who includes all the fun, and then you get to criticize me in the comment section. Lucky you. Before we clean up the shop here, let's get some good oil in here. I absolutely love these oil drains. I mean, why did we ever move to anything else besides this? And really, it makes it easy. Like, you would change your oil more often if it was this easy. And that's the problem with a lot of engines, is for a while they've gotten back to making it better, but I feel like for a while it got really difficult to change the oil, and then then people, like manufacturers, remembered, oh yeah, we should probably make it easy so that our engines last for a long time out there. So I'm gonna get some good oil in here, and there's no filter, so again makes it kind of easy. And then we got to get the mowing deck on and see if this thing drives and mows. Probably gonna need to get a battery, unfortunately. I'd rather not spend money on a battery, but yeah, might need to. I just did a bunch of mowing here and apparently didn't record, but I can show you a little bit more. But yeah, it runs really nice. Mows great. Nice and even. Decent power for what it is. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking like $350. What would you guys sell this for? Maybe $400 with a battery in it? I can't go too high. But we're mostly functional. I want to get the headlights to work. They're not working right now, and they should. Besides that, I'm just thinking about whether or not I should put a battery in it. But let me mow a little bit so you guys can see this thing in action. like garbage again. Nearly mowed my whole backyard and then, I don't know. Okay, so I'm just grasping at straws here, but might as well change the coil. I don't know. This coil wire's been chewed on, so also this stud was broken. This thing could have been flapping around, who knows? Would that cause surging? I don't think so, but it didn't perform any better when it got warm, so sometimes that means coil. But I'm gonna do a different coil and a different spark plug, and we'll try that out. The other thing I was thinking while I was in here is, like, you know, maybe it's a head gasket. Maybe I'm sucking air somehow that way. That's completely possible. So if this doesn't work, I might be doing a head gasket. Alright, that's a different coil, a different spark plug, same result. You guys think we should do a head gasket? There's got to be some solution here. Alright, just about ready to pull the head off. I saved you the trouble of just unbolting some stuff. Alright, we're ready to take a look here. Oh yeah. Pretty sure that's good and blown. Yeah, definitely a blown head gasket. Looks like it's blown here too, and that might be where the air is actually getting in. All right, on to something. Do you think it's gonna stop the surging though? I guess we'll find out. All right, hopefully I have a head gasket here. If not, I'll order one, obviously, but might have one. Well, I don't have a gasket on hand, so I cleaned that up. I gotta go place an order, so we're kind of paused here for now. A few days later, our head gasket has arrived, so we'll get that all installed. Put this back together and see if it's improved. I'm kind of wondering, there was a lot of debris buildup on this side of the fins. This looked a bit blown out. You know, could have been sucking in air there, but I'm hoping this fixes it. Seems a little bit like a far-fetched fix. So we'll see. Put back together. Here's our test. Well, I think that's good enough of a test to put the cover back on. That's great. You know, but we have to keep in mind it ran really well until I mowed for about 20 minutes and then started surging again. So got to heat this thing up and see what it does. Well, I just finished mowing and then power washing it, just cleaned it up a bit, and a guy pulled in off the road and said he wanted to buy it. So that was kind of crazy. He actually checked out all the machines, you know, he was laughing at my prices and stuff, but whatever. He said 400, he wants me to deliver it. He's just like down the road. So I think we might be selling this one. Okay, the next morning here, notice anything different? Well, we got a new roof, front and back. We did that yesterday, and seems like this Craftsman video is going to come out first, but I have a whole video that I'm making on this shed project, so that's a little bit of a teaser for you. All right, so we have a buyer. Hopefully he should be coming by today and give me the money, and then I'll deliver it just kind of down the street. But I've been working on this thing just a little bit in the morning. It's like 9 o'clock right now, and since we have a buyer, I wanted to, you know, this is all kind of quick. I would be tinkering around with this thing a little bit, but I gotta go fast now. So yesterday I noticed it was still leaking from the bottom of the solenoid, and if you notice, look at this. So I got a different solenoid and a new gasket, and I wired up the anti-backfire solenoid so that works properly. It's not leaking anymore, so we got a bone dry carb. And I also wired in our headlights. I had to wire in the headlights to the solenoid, not sure why, but the headlight harness was not working. So that comes on with the key, which is fine with me. And then since I have it, and you know, might as well use my spare parts, let's swap out this foot tread that someone used some like sticky tape. There we go. Now we have a proper foot tread. This one was broken and the tabs were broken, so that's going in the trash. Yeah, I mean, I think this is about it that we want to do with it. Fires right up. Anti-backfire solenoid works, doesn't leak, it's got lights, mows, had a service. Tires have been good. For 400 bucks, I think this is, I mean, I actually really like the way this thing mows. This 6-speed, it's so much better than any transmission out there. And it's, I'm not saying it's like super easy to use because it's a 6-speed. I mean, the hydros are way easier, but if you had to go with anything else besides like a perfectly operating hydro, I would go with one of these 6-speeds. The thing just hauls uphill. It does not change, and you know, this engine bogs less on wet grass than some 20 horsepower V-twin. So I mean, I know it's not that comfortable to drive. You know, you do have the stick shift. You know, it's a little clumsy, whatever. But overall, I mean, they really hit the target with this one. I want to get this thing out of the shed because, yeah, like I said, we're doing renovations right now, so things are really messy. But I'm going to start ripping siding off. So I want to get cleaned up, want to get this thing out of here, get it out front, kind of, so when the guy comes, he sees it. We're ready to go, though, guys. Hopefully we get this thing sold. Well, it's the next day. The buyer did not show up. So, you know, he pulled into my driveway 2 days ago and said he wanted to buy it and he'd be back the next day, and no show. Anyway, I'm back on the headlights because I had wired these things up to the DC side of the electrical circuit. And what was happening was, obviously I had good lights, very bright, but I go and check the battery and the battery's getting drawn down while the engine's running. Like, that's not good. So this itty bitty stator that's on here is, you know, not very many amps, and basically just the fuel solenoid is like all it can handle, apparently, without like stepping back the amperage or voltage to the to the headlights, that was just not viable. So the way these are supposed to be set up, and I don't know why this harness isn't working the way it's intended, but the way they're supposed to be set up is the headlights get power directly from the stator and from the AC side of the stator. So I'll show you a little bit here. So I have this wire going in. So these two wires that I'm touching with my thumb come directly off the stator. One has a little bump in it, and that's a diode, and that's going to be where all your DC power gets fed back into the wiring harness and eventually to the battery. The other wire that doesn't have the bump is just raw AC, and that's designed to run things like the headlights. So for whatever reason, this harness isn't connected to that, but we have good AC power there. And as you saw, I just jammed a wire into that harness to rob that AC power, ran it through the intended headlight harness. We have a ground that I've already set up, and headlights work, and most importantly, the battery charges while all this is happening, because yeah, it's not sharing the amperage for the DC power. It's got its own AC thing, and nothing else is borrowing from that, so we have no other load. So yeah, this is the way I want to set it up. I got to clean up my wiring. I got to solder in something official here, but basically it's given me the time to get things even more correct. Because if I left it the way it was, you know, the guy would have been mowing, and then, you know, a couple days later, his battery, well, if he was mowing a lot, his battery would be drawn down, and that's not good. So that would have been a big problem. So yeah, when the last clip ended, I pushed it to the yard just so the guy could show up and see his tractor that he was buying, and I checked the battery one more time and was like, oh no. So I actually removed the headlights, like just in case he came, and I was just gonna say, yeah, I had to pull the headlights, they were drawing the battery down, and but now that I have an extra day, I can fix it and get it right. Well, who knows if the guy's gonna show up, right? But I have some more time to get it right. He likes to help me stay organized in the shed. What are you working on?
Shrink wrap.
Shrink wrap, yep. Yeah, the container got a little disorganized. Nice work, buddy. And over here we've buttoned up everything, so we have soldered connections and shrink wrap. So I shortened up our anti-backfire solenoid wire because that was a little excessive. And then here's our positive running to the headlights, and that I went into actually the main connector. I don't know if you can see this orange one that my thumb is touching. I pulled that pin out, wrapped this black wire around it, soldered it, jammed it back in, and that orange wire runs to the AC power coming off the stator. So now there's no like butt connectors or anything weird like that. I'm gonna take this wiring loom and secure that back up, and then that looks basically completely factory, and we'll put the headlights back in. Well, I think that's all I can do to fix this up to be as reliable as possible. Sure, there's a bunch of flaws with this thing, but we knew that. We're trying to make this as reliable and functional as possible while still maintaining some of the cosmetic flaws that will help us to keep our price way down here towards the end of summer. So I would call this a pretty good flip, but I've been watching a lot of the YouTube channels out there that are doing tractor flipping, and I don't know if I can call what I do flipping. I guess I'm getting closer to like actual repairs, except I'm not repairing things for people. I really am just flipping tractors. Buy or acquire a broken tractor, fix it, sell it for profit. So to me, that's tractor flipping. But the tractor flippers I see out there now, there's a lot of channels where they just want to wash the machine and then sell it for double or triple the price. That's just crazy. And if they have to do repairs, they're complaining about the repairs the whole time. Like they really just want to buy a machine, somehow negotiate it down, wash it, sell it again. I don't know. So if that's tractor flipping, then no, I'm not a tractor flipper anymore. I did change my description too. I no longer say tractor flipping. So I'm repairing these things and selling them for profit. I need a word. Anyway, hopefully this guy shows up today. I do have it listed on Facebook now too. So, you know, he was supposed to show up yesterday, so I don't feel bad. If it sells, it sells. If he shows up, hopefully I can sell it to him. And we'll see if I can capture some of that, but I'll update you guys either way. All right, a little update. So the guy still hasn't shown up, but I'm starting to get some messages now on Facebook, and we might have a possible delivery that I'm making. So anyway, just wanted to update you because I don't know how to make this like a good video, but I've done some more things to this because it started running like trash again. And if you can see, it's got a Nicky carb on there now. All right, so I did some more. It started surging again, first of all. I don't know why. Just, it was, as you all saw, and I demonstrated and mowed, running very smooth. Well, right after I shut off the last clip, I went to go park it down by the creek just because, you know, I was trying to clean up the yard. Started surging. I was like, all right, I might as well get it back in the shed. So I got it back in the shed, could not get it to stop surging. Messed around with different carburetors, and the biggest change came from swapping out the metal intake. So this intake went here, and I swapped it out for one like this, plastic one. And of course, yeah, it has a different carb. I think the other carb would have been just fine. This is the one that's on it now, and we're rolling with it. But I don't understand. Yeah, there's so many things have led to this thing running poorly and then led to it running better. And here's yet another one, but so yeah, this thing has been a wild ride, but I am determined to make this thing run well and be a good mower for somebody. And the tractor's all loaded and strapped down. We have a deal. I'm delivering this thing about 20 minutes away. It's about 7:30 in the morning right now. The only time I had available was 8 a.m. drop off. He was good with it. He never came by to check it out. Just messaged me and said, can you deliver? And I said, yeah. And we agreed on a price, cash, and we're getting it done. And we're back from the delivery. We agreed on $450 to get that delivered about 22 minutes away. Not too bad, and glad to get that done early in the morning. The machine did great. The guy liked it. He had never really used a lawn tractor before. He was using one of those Ego electric ones to do his yard, so he's pretty excited to have a gas-powered machine now. So I guess I was kind of wrong. These things do sell even if they don't look mint, and I think I picked the perfect tractor for this project. Something that's as classic as an LT1000, and like I said, they seem to be still desirable, or at least recognizable. I don't know, someone who's never used a tractor, maybe they looked at that and be like, oh yeah, my dad used to use that or something. I don't know. But yeah, you don't have to clean these up. You just can't ask a crazy price for them. So I think $450 is about as much as you could get out of something like that. But it's worth it all day long. If you can get that type of tractor for free, which basically I did. I got that as a trade-in, and you know, just do some, well, this one needed a ton of work, but in the end, I really didn't purchase much for it besides the battery. So yeah, it, you know, had 20-something years of neglect. So yeah, we had to play some catch up on this one. But in the end, really happy with it. Glad we figured out the surging issue and all the problems with this thing, and headlights work, charging system works, it mows, it drives, all that good stuff. So I think that guy's gonna be pretty happy with it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of interesting project and selling a classic 1998 Craftsman LT1000. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next tractor video.